They also discuss and enhancing player health services and reviewing kickoff and safety rules. Now, to get more in detail about enhancing player health services, they're going to start actually having licensed professionals within the organization pretty much through the whole entire season and maybe in the off season too. This is kind of to address pretty much some of these the mental health. Uh, this kind of their answer to the apparent suicides that have been going on with their retired players. You know, your Rondell Moores, your Doug Martins, and then
Marshawn Kneeland.
Marshawn Nealon. Sorry, I almost had his last name fixed up. This is their answer for that too, man. And then before I get into the question that I asked you about, okay, so we know what the NFL is capable of. They do some damn underhanded shit, and if you listen to some of the older players before about what they used to do, you know they're going to be capable of doing it now. Your history just going to repeat its damn self. So before I get into that question, D, I just kind of want to raise up this article because it goes right in tandem with kind of like with the meeting with the topic they were talking about on the meetings. You could kind of consider this academic article as a blip on the radar, man. But basically, it's a study that shows the rise in suicide rates among NFL players. And let me just kind of give my notes to give y'all the Reader's Digest of what I read, man, too. But it goes like this, y'all. So basically, all right, basically these guys, I want to say Rachel Grasso and Mark West, I want to say Westcopov. Sorry if I mispronounced your name wrong, but basically they're part of the NFL player health study at Harvard, and pretty much they've been pretty much just kind of doing like I said, it's kind of like a blip on the radar. They've been studying basically the suicide rates amongst NFL players from 2011 to 2019, and of course this article just released recently too, and so they couldn't add into like the Doug Martins and the recent NFL studies, man. But what they took away from the fact that and they did a comparative analysis to, of course, other professional athletes. So MLB, NFL, NBA players, suicide rates amongst it. So what came from the article is that the fact that from the comparative analysis that they first studied for the time period between 1979 to 2010, similar. From 2011 to 2019 right now, they said the NFL players rose 3 times before any other athlete. 3 times. So basically, you would kind of say yes that the Aaron Hernandez case basically is what kind of, I wouldn't say call it a copycat, but basically this is what kind of this was what kind of specialized that time period right around with Angel Hernandez. I mean Aaron Hernandez. Sorry, not Angel Hernandez. So sorry. Now,
Mm.
all right. Now, like I said, so let me just kind of review. So, the risk of suicide compared to the basketball and baseball counterparts are likely due to multiple factors, including copycat effects from high-profile suicides. So, Junior Seau, like I said, Aaron Hernandez, that was kind of like the most recent ones we know too. Um, increased fears around CTE and high rates of medical conditions whose symptoms can mimic those of CTE. So, CTE stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Sorry, y'all. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Sorry, encephalopathy, which basically means brain disease. So, I know we brought up Antonio Brown situation. Um, I already told y'all CTE can only really be diagnosed once you're diseased anyway. But doesn't mean that the fact that he doesn't have any other, chronic traumatic encephalopathy symptoms. We could have brain disease somewhere else, but I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, and I'm not Antonio Brown. Maybe he knows, but I don't. So pretty much that's pretty much what you can kind of take away from the article, though, man. But it basically, I mean, with this situation kind of looming amongst the NFL, and they've been trying to get quiet about the CTE situation, man. But with these NFL suicides that's been happening, it's sad to say it's probably going to happen again because that's just how patterns work. Um, I know my dad brought this up, and I think it's something. It's a very shady ass tag that the NFL would do. You think like we just talked about with the player centers, with the of course with the player cap coming up right now, and then just basically the new CBA agreement. You think that they're gonna? You think I can see the NFL? And let me ask y'all if y'all feeling the same way I do. I can see the NFL going out of their way to be like, hey, we can net you this amount of money under the table, or within your contract. Doesn't really have to be publicized. Most contracts have like proprietary information that can't be publicized. If you sign this and don't report, don't report your brain findings when you die of old age or whatever, we'll net you this amount of money towards your pension, or you can have it now. You think I can see the NFL doing something like that? What y'all think?
That would be. I feel like that would happen, but that would be very deceptive to me. I feel like that would be very deceptive
Mm-hmm.
because the thing is like, man, why does it have to be like that, bro? Like I'm getting hit in the head
Yeah.
and grabbing concussions and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm out here getting paid millions to do so. So why can't you just resource by
Like,
being straight up and giving me insurance?
and
Like,
having the information, just like you
right,
say, okay, we got these licensed professionals here. Let's also get like a representative from the NFL Player Harvard Fund to kind of take a trip around each organization. Or if we can't do that, then okay, let's all have like a meeting in the off season one day at the NFLPA or whatnot, talking about these things. Like give us information about
right,
this, like that. And I see they're incorporating it now, but maybe on their terms. But I'm like you, like why does it have to get to that point instead of just kind of just being more upfront about it and treating everybody like adults? Like, hey, this is here, but we already know this is how they avoid lawsuits. And I mean, if you, when back in the day they used to just stick the guys up with cortisone in their damn knees. Comes to find out, hey, this causes kidney failure, a la my man Ken Easley, who had to who sued the NFL because of that, because basically, yeah, they kind of blew up his damn kidney basically with all them cortisone shots and never really told him the aftermath and effects of that.
right.
And he's not the only one. He's just so happened to one that passed recently from it. But
Yeah,
whatever
like I
else, and
said.
then of course the painkillers and all that too. But it's just something I can see the NFL do. This is kind of this new way of doing it, just to avoid a lawsuit. That's the biggest thing.
Well, the thing is like you still could possibly get lawsuited too.
Yeah,
Like I think you still possibly could just get lawsuited straight up because that would be more of a reasonable lawsuit than to just be straight up with me.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, not everything doesn't have to be behind the scenes. If my health is on the line
Yeah,
and I'm out here, like I said, I'm out here giving my body, giving my mind, my spirit away for the game that I'm
mm-hmm.
playing. Like, why the world would I want to be told stuff behind the scenes? I would rather, as people, as most people do, and I know I don't do this, but documentations in person is always like you always have to write those down. You always have to know. You always have to keep that in check because if someone tells you something, doggone, and they say, "Well, hey, I'm gonna give you a bottle, my whole branding deal with Eternal Water," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what's the thing, right? What is it? And they just be like, well, you don't have to, you can't tell nobody that you get paid. Uh, we gonna help you get paid like 15 million for for that. And I'm like, why are you telling me this behind the scenes? You know what I'm saying? You have to have a documentation on stuff like that because anyone can say anything. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't agree. If the NFL does something like that, bro, it's just like a scheme. It's just like a scheme, a weird scheme to do. I don't think it's right for the NFL if they were to do that to a player. I don't think it's right for the NFL to walk up to somebody and be like, "Well, since you already play in the NFL, you have to sign this." Like that just don't work like that because as many I've seen a lot of people talk about stuff like this a lot. Like these older legends and players, man, they doggone suffering to this day. And they said, bro, they only got 5 years now, 5 years in order for their insurance, and then they done. That's why
Yeah,
Philip Rivers probably came back and played this season, and then just went back home because he's like,
yeah.
bro, I need that insurance.
I need to renew that pension. Yeah, it's just like,
So
hey, I get it. I mean, pensions cost a lot. I get it. I get it. I learned this. I learned the whole entire history from this from Robert Smith just recently. That the NFL, before they even had when they first had a pension, they basically said the 70 guys for the NFLPA basically kicked out the first 52, which meant like the first like 52, like the first 50 years of the NFL or whenever the NFL started. They kicked them out basically from getting their pensions first so they could kind of prioritize themselves. And basically how they kicked back into that so they can make sure the old guys pay. They had Robert Smith's draft class take a pay cut from last year's draft class so they could afford the money towards the pension towards those players that played when the NFL first conceived. Now, that's me learning this lesson. And to me, that's some bullshit anyway. And to me, that was just a smart way how the NFL just got players to fight themselves instead of just looking at y'all to make it happen. And I think the NFL has enough money to even pay these guys the correct pension. But like we said, and we got to do schemes like what Phillip Rivers did, where we got to come back so we can renew the pension. It's just like just to get the like proper insurance. Nah, man. Especially when we get into 18 games a season, man, and especially how y'all try to hide this chromatic, the chronic traumatic and encephalopathy, yeah, encephalopathy situation. It, I mean, look, we're gonna have to get to a point where I say, look, either you do this right, you know what, we'll get to the damn point by the year 3000. This just won't be football anymore as we know it,
Right.
because that's how I felt. So I felt like this is kind of an important meeting too, because I said, well, if football were to damn go away by the time you and I are in our 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah.
I think this will kind of be the situation of it, man, because it's just getting to the point where it's gonna be treated like boxing. Yeah, you know what? Never mind, man. I don't think. I mean, there's a nice reward, man, but it's just like, yeah, I don't want my children to damn suffer like this, and then y'all not even being honest, and we're not even having an honest conversation like adults when it comes to just releasing information or trying to figure out where's the medium with this thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, there has to be for anything, there has to be a limitation on the way that the NFL is doing people after they retire. Someone like, I'm just gonna say it, I'm just trying to think of players that's like been in the trenches like that and was like, and now they're kind of like recovering from it. Someone like freaking someone like Mean Joe Green, right? I'm just mentioning a name, right?
mm-hmm.
Someone like Mean Joe Green who was in the Steelers defense that was a very dominant defense during their days. And I don't know if he's hurt or anything like that, but let's just say if he
Probably,
is.
let's say probably he is, man, because he's still alive. He's still alive. He's 79, man. But to say that in that era that me and Joe came unscathed, no.
No. It was way worse back then for the people that don't know. It was way worse. So you like, bro, someone like Mean Joe should have insurance all his
Throughout his
life
life.
for a lifetime. Someone like, even I'm just gonna go lesser than someone like um someone who's been in the league for 4 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? They deserve to have that lifetime thing because Luke Kuechly, like he should have like that lifetime type of thing because he did what he could for like those
Yeah.
9 years. But I just don't understand how it is not. I don't understand how they just don't look at it like that. And it's really like that with mostly almost every sport where they have these little mini insurance things that they have
Yeah.
for a span of years. And it should not be like that because, again, they are giving you 16, 17 years of their own time and having to go to these camps and having to go to all these different countries and do the thing that they love the most, which I don't think they would complain about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just more like when they get back and they retire and when they start to catch CTE or when they start to catch these little things that goes on in their body, it is like a problem where the NFL isn't trying their best to just try to keep pace of making their players safe. That's why so many NFL podcasters that have been players or yeah, players, I'll say more like they talk about, bro, the NFL treats them with so much disrespect.
Yep.
So I just think honestly that has to change, and they can't do it behind the scenes. Because if they do something like that, bro, we already know they just scheming. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a scheme. I don't agree with it.
Look, I think I don't got too much to say. My partner already said what I had to say about it. I know Roland. I know Roland can't speak right now, but I know he feels the same way too. So shoot, all we can just do is wait and watch, man. But NFL, we know y'all history, so we'll see if you're gonna do the right thing.
Right.